Welcome to Game Fondue Reviews. In this video, we're going to take a look at Love Letter. Love Letter is a quick, fast, light card game. Let's jump right in with the description of the rules, see a few example turns being played, then I'll be back for some closing remarks. This is Love Letter, set for a 3-player game. To set up, you shuffle the deck of cards and you place one card off to the side that nobody gets to see. Then you deal each player one card and the game's ready to begin. Although if you're playing a 2-player game, you also have to lay 3 cards face up near the play area that everybody can see. But since we're 3 players, we're not going to worry about that right now. Players take their turns in clockwise order. The first thing they're going to do in a turn is draw a card. It goes to their hand, and then they're going to play one card from their hand by discarding it in front of them. They're going to play the card and they have to do what it says, even if it's something they don't want to do. Also, make sure all your cards are face up for everybody to see. Everybody can examine each other player's discard pile. After the active player finishes their action, play proceeds left, and that player is going to draw a card and play one card. There are various effects in the game that can eliminate other players. If a player is eliminated, they just discard their card face up without using its effect, and they take no more turns the rest of the round. In particular, there's the guard card, which allows you to guess what's in the other person's hand, and if you guess correctly, they are eliminated. So the round can end in 2 ways. One is if all players except one are eliminated, in which case that player is the winner, or if the deck is empty. If the deck empties, the active player finishes his or her turn, and then the game ends. So you do get to finish your turn on the turn the deck is empty. It's also possible that with the Prince card, if you play this, somebody has to discard their hand and draw one card. If there's no cards left in the deck when this is played, because the active player does finish their turn, you would draw that one card that was put aside at the beginning of the game. However, at this time, all players reveal their hand. Whoever is the highest numbered card wins. So if this was the situation, this player would have won because they have the Princess, which is the highest valued card in the game. So when you win a round, you take a token of affection, which are just these red cubes here, and depending on the number of players, you need a certain number of tokens of affection to win the game. In a 2-player game, it's 7 tokens. In a 3-player game, it's 5 tokens. And in a 4-player game, it's 4 tokens. And if a player did not win the game, a new round is started by reshuffling all the cards, even the ones that were off to the side at the beginning of the game. And the winner of the previous round goes first in the next round. Let's get going with this example playthrough. Of course, in the normal game, your hand is for your eyes only, but here we're going to put it face up to make it easier to see. So this guy's going to go first, so he's first going to draw a card, and then he's going to play a card. He's going to play this guard card, and what that allows you to do is guess a card in another player's hand that's not a guard. You can't guess guard, but you can guess anything else, and if that player has that card, they are eliminated. So he's going to pick this guy, and he's going to guess Baron. Of course, we know this isn't a Baron, it's a King. So he is safe at this time. He doesn't have to show the other guy his card. He just has to say, hey, I'm not dead. So then it's this guy's turn. So he draws a card from his hand, and then he gets to play one. So he's going to play a priest, which allows him to look at one other person's hand. So he decides to look at this guy's hand. So he shows him secretly, and now he knows that this guy has a priest. So it's this guy's turn. He draws, and he's going to play that priest right away because he's afraid that guy might have a guard. So he puts that priest in front of him, and he's going to check his hand now. And now he knows, oh, that guy has a king. So it comes back to this guy's turn. He draws a card. He decides to play the handmaid. And what the handmaid does is no player can target you until it comes back around to your turn. So no card, no guard, no priest, nothing can target this player. He's totally protected by Susanna the handmaid. So it's this guy's turn, and he draws as normal. So he also draws a handmaid, and he decides to play it. So he puts that handmaid in front of him. This guy over here had already saw his hand, so he was afraid that he would use a guard or something on him, but he's protected now by the handmaid. So it's this guy's turn, and he draws. Now, unfortunately for him, all he has is 2 guards. Why is that unfortunate? Because both other players have a handmaid, so he plays the guard, and he can't guess any other player's hand because they're both protected. And make sure you can see all the cards. So it comes back to this guy, though he's no longer protected by that handmaid. He decides that he is going to use the Baron, which makes him show another person his hand, and whoever's hand is bigger wins. So he's going to play Baron. Has to be this guy because this guy's protected by the handmaid. So they both secretly show each other their hands. He's a 5. This guy's a 1. So unfortunately for this guy, he is eliminated from the game. And this card is still secret from that player over there, though he knows it's higher than a 1. So it's this guy's turn, and now he is no longer protected by the handmaid, and he drew a countess. If you have this card in your hand and you have a king or a prince, this is the king, this is the prince, you have to discard it. It has no effect, but otherwise it just has to be discarded this time. You can discard it other times, but we're just going to throw it down now. So nothing happens, and then it's this guy's turn, and now he has a guard, and he's thinking, wow, that guy probably has a king or a prince. Just for demonstrational purposes, he's going to guess prince, and this guy is safe. So he's thinking, wow, he probably has the king now. So this guy draws a card, and he plays that prince. And what that does is you choose a player, can even be yourself, has to be yourself if all the other players have handmaids, and they discard their hand and draw a new card. So So this guy discards his hand and he draws a new card, which happens to be the Baron. There's still a card left in the deck, so the game's not over yet. So this guy's turn is over. Now it's this guy's turn. He draws the Princess, which is the highest card in the game. The problem with the Princess, though, is if you ever discard it from your hand for any reason, you immediately lose the game. So he has that in his hand, but he feels pretty good because he is the Baron, so they're going to show hands, and obviously the player with the Princess is the highest. So all other players are eliminated, so this guy would take it. Also, if the game ended, whoever had the highest number, because the game would end at this time because this deck is empty at the end of a player's turn. So whoever had the highest number in their hand, everybody would win. So this guy was in pretty good shape drawing that Princess towards the end of the game. So since he won a round, he would take this red token of affection here, then all the cards would be shuffled, even this one that was put off to the side, and this player would go first in the next round. When they get the required number of victory tokens, the game is over. Love letters become incredibly popular. There's so many different versions of it now. There's even a Batman version, which makes me laugh a little bit every time I think about it because it just doesn't seem to fit in with this theme. There's also versions that come in boxes if you're not a big fan of the bag, but I like the bag for this game. I can understand the popularity because it's just such an easy game to teach. It can work well in a whole bunch of different settings. Obviously in a family setting because, you know, it's not very strategic or anything, but there's nice bluffing elements, and the game is very smooth. You're essentially just drawing a card, playing a card, so it's very easy to teach, and the theme is totally non-offensive at all to almost anybody. But it also works as a filler game in more serious gamer groups, just that is a game you play between other games because it just does not overstay its welcome. It's quick, easy, and it's fun. So if it looked good to you, check it out. That's Love Letter.